Good morning, beloveds, and welcome. Welcome to the center. I am Reverend Amani Malaika, and I am so happy to see you all this morning in our outdoor sanctuary. Welcome to our beloveds on Zoom and those of you watching the live stream. Mwah. I am so grateful for the continued cooperation of our weather. So let us just know that this beautiful, cool experience continues for about the next hour or so. Nice mask, Molly. That's beautiful. I know. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, let us begin. Just so for those of you who may be new to our outdoor sanctuary, I will let you know you can access bathrooms through this back door, which is also wheelchair access. And you can also sneak in through this door. Masks are required inside. Thank you so much for participating in the way we gather right now and to help keep each other safe. I appreciate you. I would love to have Miss Clarissa come up and get us started with an opening prayer.
All right. Good morning, my beloveds. So good to see all of your beautiful faces today. Let's just take a deep breath and turn within and just remember that there's only one power, one presence, one love, one infinite source of all that is. And I call it God, I call it spirit, but whatever you call it, it is that one source of all. It is love. And I know that it is expressing in and through and as each one of us that is here today on this beautiful autumn morning with the fresh, cool air. And I just sense that there is something special in the air today. I sensed it from the moment that I woke up. Today is a special day. Today is a day that God has made, and we get to rejoice and be glad in it. And know that this is a celebration of oneness, being together in community, remembering that we are not separate. We are not separate from that which created us. We are not separate from each other. We are made of that same love. And so we just get to honor and celebrate that and practice that and practice my practice in the world of looking at every face that I see and saying, brother, sister, father, mother, you are a part of me I don't yet know. Even those people who I think are separate or I think are so different from me, just to remind myself that there is that light at the center of my being, and it is the same light at the center of everyone. And you are all a part of me that I may know or may not yet know. And I just rejoice in the opportunity to get to explore that more deeply and to just expand my awareness of the love that I am and the love that life is. And that's what we're here to do together today. And so I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for the coolness of the air. I'm grateful for each beautiful heart, each beautiful mind, each beautiful soul present in these seats. And we just allow today to unfold in absolute perfection. And so it is.
Beautiful. And so I'm just going to ask us to remain in this beautiful, prayerful space that Clarissa has made for us. And I'm going to invite any of you who have come with something heavy on your heart or with a prayer that has yet to be answered, to please consider lighting a candle inside the Labyrinth building in order to just allow this community to hold you in prayer. You can walk in through these doors, and I'll ask one of my beloved greeters to just be there and help point people in the right direction. Thank you, Kelly. And you can just go on inside and light a candle and put your prayer on the altar, knowing that this whole community will hold you in prayer. And as we allow for our candle lighting ceremony, I want to just allow us to take this prayerful moment and send it a little further. And so we are currently not singing, but if you have a mask on and you know the song, feel free to join in. Or otherwise, just hum and know the truth that the love that we are right here and right now expands out. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the valley, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the valley, and it returns to me. And so I just want us to sing that together, hum that together, know that together, and bring to mind our beloveds in Afghanistan. Yep. Bring to mind all of those in the hurricanes and the storms and the fires across our globe. Bring to mind our beloved Haitian brothers and sisters looking for asylum, and every refugee who is fleeing for their life right now. And let's send our love. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the valley, and it returns to me. Yeah. And so it is. I would like to now invite anybody who has a prayer on their heart that they would be willing to come and share on the microphone, so that you can be held even more strongly by the love that is this community. So come on up if you are willing to share your prayer. And my beloved is on Zoom. Just hang on and Krista will get you in order if you would like to share your prayers. Anybody like to come on up and share your prayer so that we may hold you? And if you do not want to come up on the stairs, if you raise your hand, I can get the mic to you. Come on. Jeff, you want to take Matt the mic?
I am here to offer. Yes, I'm praying today for the Part T Macmillan family, and embracing and accepting and understanding the loss of their great matriarch, great grandmother, and mother, Eva Part T Macmillan, who passed away and transitioned and joined her ancestors on September 23rd, 2021. Amen. Golly, Miss Molly.
Good morning, everyone. I started feeling so wonderful this morning, embracing autumn. I actually had been told by readings I've been doing, and I mentioned this to my study group the other night, that I have to slow down. And I think I need to share that with others, because we've been so hectically trying to do everything. and heal and deal with the pandemic. But this morning I heard some affirmations I want to share with you, and I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. I want to affirm, do your best, then rest. The next one, instead of striving, start abiding. Abide in the Lord, abide in the divine. That's so heavy, but I think it's meaningful. Sorry. And the last one I have is, what belongs to you is not going to anybody else. I always like to say, God's delay is not his denial. So now we need to do our best, then rest and start all over again in this season. Thank you. Amen.
Hope I can say this eloquently. What's in my heart? I foremost want to express gratitude that we're here today and we're in such beautiful weather and fall. It's great and wonderful. I want to take a moment to honor my nephew, Russ. He passed away 2 years ago and his birthday is Wednesday. He would have been 29 on the 29th. And I just want to honor him for just a moment. And I want to express gratitude that I have the chance to do great things, not only in his name, however, for my creator, for our community, for everyone. And I just want to take a moment to honor him because he's an amazing spirit. Thank you.
So I have a prayer of celebration and of joy, and I want to just have a community shout out to Kenneth Winfrey and Jay Blackwell, who joined together in expressing their love. And I'm just grateful that we live in a world where a Kenneth and a Jay can celebrate in that way, and that they're a shining example of love is love in our community. And just sending all the love that we have to them in honor of their marriage.
Congratulations, Jay and Kenneth. It was a sweet ceremony, y'all. All right. Any burning desires, last moments where you really need to share with the group? All right, let us move forward. I wanted to share, well, I have so many things to say on what it means to embody justice and what justice means. But I'm going to start with Cornel West's definition of justice, which is justice is what love looks like in public. I love that definition. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And for me, and in our teaching, the foundational principle of the center of science of mind, of my belief system, is oneness. That there absolutely is no separation, and that there is an inherent connectedness and oneness that is the life of God that we each are a beautiful expression of. And because that is true, justice is the manifest demonstration of oneness. I like to say that justice and oneness, or just action, is not different from spiritual action. They are one and the same. And I think we like to separate the ideas of justice of social ill from what we consider spiritual. And yet when we recognize what it means to be one, what it actually means, that it's not an airy fairy unicorn farts through the sky sort of idea, that it is actually a thing, then we realize that justice cannot be separate from oneness, that it is one and the same. And the next realization then we must make, because we know how it works, right? We know how the cosmos unfolds, is that the only thing that can come into manifest reality is through our conscious awareness. When justice is not showing up, what is the logical idea that we must come to terms with? Anybody want to take a shot at it? If justice is not showing up, what also must be true? Our consciousness, right? What we are holding in our conscious awareness has to be lacking justice, has to be lacking oneness. There is no other possibility, because one of the things that we talk about in this teaching, and that Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, said over and over in a bunch of different ways, in a bunch of different texts, and a bunch of different speeches, is principle is not personal. It's kind of like math. It doesn't matter who's doing the math. Math is going to be the same math, right? Same stuff's going to add up to the same stuff. It is the same thing with the law of manifestation. It is math. It is pretty simple to put one and one together and understand two. It is simple to understand if oneness is not what's showing up, the only possibility is that it's also not showing up in our conscious awareness. There is no other possibility. And if the thing that we want, which we talk about a lot around here, is a world that works for everyone. If the thing that we want is a world that works for everyone, then we have to take a hard look at what is working in our consciousness, in our awareness. And it's information, right? It's not about getting on a shame spiral. It's not about getting into a blame game. Your consciousness is worse than my consciousness. But it is about looking at the manifest reality and going, if this is what is showing up out here in life, what is showing up in here in my consciousness? Because we are one, we are all participating in the manifest reality. There is no other possibility. We can't look at what's going on the border, or what's going on in Afghanistan, what is going on in our seas and in our climate, and think we are separate from it. That it somehow has nothing to do with us. Oneness can't be true and separation at the same time. They cannot be true at the same time. You are either in separation or you are in oneness. Or as Eric Butterworth, author and reverend of spiritual economics, says, you are either in problem or you are in solution. You can't be in both at the same time. And I think when we can begin to get more conscious and more comfortable with how uncomfortable it is to begin to answer that question for ourselves, we will begin to become more aware of our oneness. We have to be willing to get uncomfortable in our own practice of separation so that then we can move from problem to solution. And recognize that every single one of us falls into the thoughts and the actions of separation. Every single one of us. Because if we didn't, the world would look like a very different place. So we already have done that math, right? It's just math. This equals this. So rather than get into all of the thought and the story about, oh my God, I'm practicing separation, I'm a horrible human being. I'm ruining everything. We can actually get into, oh, wow, look at me thinking I'm separate. Look at me thinking somehow they are the problem. And now I get to sit with that thought, with that awareness, and begin to contemplate how I can align myself more with the truth of oneness. I want to share a quote from Margaret Wheatley, who is one of my go-to teachers right now, and I highly recommend all of her books. Margaret Wheatley, check her out. But recently I was in a webinar with her, and she said, whatever the problem, community is the answer. Only when we're together, only when we're working on a common cause with real and true relationships to make a way for compassion to grow, understanding to grow. The only way to develop our compassionate sides is in community. And only then can we solve problems. She went on to say we can never solve them alone. And it's a strong statement. We can never solve them alone. But again, if you do the math, that has to be what's true. Because if we are all in this one life together, there's only one possible solution to any problems that show up in this one life. Any problem, any conflict, any experience of lack, any experience of violence or injustice, any of those experiences become all of our experiences because of oneness. So if any of us are hanging out in problem and not in solution, if any of us are hanging out in separation and not in oneness, that means we are all impacted by that. There is no other possibility. It is one life, right? And so when you begin to realize how important you are, how important your contribution is to the solutions, how important your one life is to the one life, you may begin to understand why it is our mission here at the Albuquerque Center for Spiritual Living is transformation. Because what I know in every fiber of my being, there's only one solution to problem. And that is each and every one of us recognizing the truth of who we are in this one. That is the one solution that solves every problem. Every time, without fail. And yet there's this difficulty in such a giant concept, right? When we think about what's going on in Afghanistan, when we think about what's going on with climate change, when we think about what's going on with at the border and with Haitian refugees and all the refugees, and when we think about what's going on with the pandemic and the economic fallout, and oh my God, it gets overwhelming really fast. Yes? And we begin to feel really small in the face of all that. Yes? Anybody raise your hand? And yet what I know is the way that we interact with one another right here, in this moment, right now, makes a difference in that entire whole. The way that we begin to see the truth of one another right here, right now, literally changes the temperature of the sea. That's how important it is. That's what it means to embody justice through the conscious practice of community, is right where we are, right where we find ourselves. You know, there's this idea in social justice of proximity, and that you cannot begin to be a solution for someone if you are not in proximity to them. And I believe that to be true, right alongside what I believe to be true about how important every single one of us in our conscious awareness is for the entire globe. But the way we begin to develop our conscious awareness of our oneness is through the practice of compassion, the practice of presence in our actual relationships, right where we find ourselves living. We must be in proximity in order to make it real, right? Because what do we know about affirmative prayer? What do we know about changing our conscious awareness? It has to be real to us. Can't be the airy-fairy sticky notes you put on your mirror in the bathroom. It has to be real. That is what embodiment means. That is what the third step of affirmative prayer, realization, means. It means to make real. So we take these epic, giant concepts of oneness, of love, and we make them real through the practice of community. The way we treat one another, the way we drive down the street. How many of you find yourself cussing at another driver on occasion? That's where we start. That's where we start, is right where we are. Margaret Wheatley says our task right now, with the crumbling of all of these institutions and structures around us, our task is to create islands of sanity. I love that so much. I love that so much. That's our task, is what we do right where we are in the communities we find ourselves in, creating that island of sanity, creating that sanctuary of care and compassion in the relationships we are in, is what makes the difference globally, collectively. And it's not easy. Pema Chodron defines compassion is a relationship between equals. I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about a recent interaction, conversation, maybe even just a simple passing down the aisle in the grocery store. I want you to think about, are you able to know that that interaction was with an equal? That interaction with a child, that interaction with someone without a home. Are you able to know that they are your equal? Your equal spark of life, of divinity in this one life. Compassion cannot be practiced without equality. We must know without a shadow of a doubt that we are in this together, and that each one of us is an equally valuable component of this one. And we have to take ourselves to task, which is why I've asked you, I want you to think of an interaction, just a recent interaction, where you may have fell short of understanding your equality. This is the kind of conscious awareness we must be willing to bring to our lives. The other thing I know about compassion, it's defined as suffering with. And it also is living with. We are living this one life together, and life comes with pain, yes? Unavoidable. It's just part of the deal. That's the full spectrum of experience. Some of those experiences are painful. But when we recognize that someone else's pain is within this oneness, we can get in it with them. Meet them exactly where they are and be in it with them. That's what compassion means. It's not pity. It's not, I'm sorry for you. It's like, how can I get down into the pain with you? Which brings us back to that proximity piece, right? If I am not with you, if I am not in proximity to your experience, I can't feel it with you. Which means we have to stretch beyond what we think is our bubble. Does anybody else has that bubble experience, which has become so prominent in our conversation since COVID, right? We talk about our bubble, who's in our bubble. Has anybody else begun to ponder this whole bubble thing? Anybody? Am I the only one pondering the bubble? Which has started to feel like a parallel universe at times. Anybody? Really? I'm the only one. Okay. There's a couple hands over here. Well, I think, if we're not careful and really intentional and mindful, this whole bubble thing can get pretty small, right? And we can start to feel like our experience is limited to whoever we've allowed into our bubble. And I'm going to get straight up with y'all. There are times in this life where I literally feel like I am so far from someone else's idea or perspective or experience that I think we might be living in a parallel universe. I have such small understanding about where they're coming from that I'm like, are we on different planets? I'm not sure how to get into proximity with you or with your thinking. And if I don't allow myself to be conscious and aware of that, wow, we are really far apart. I'm not even sure we're vibrating on the same plane. If I don't allow myself to be conscious of that, I can't do anything about it. I can't begin to stretch myself into a greater awareness, into a larger bubble that can hold more than I thought I could a moment ago. That's what transformation is about. As we are continually growing our awareness, our love beyond what we thought we could, which changes us. We are not in this game to change anybody else. I love the quote from Martin Luther King Jr., and he says, policy and of the equity policy is legislation. It is not love. And we cannot legislate a person's heart. We create legislation to restrain the heartless. Which brings me back to my foundational knowing. The only solution is to change hearts. The only solution. Which is exactly what each one of us is doing here today. Is we are saying yes to allowing our hearts to change. We are saying yes to expanding the bubble, to maybe bringing that parallel universe back into a oneness in our own hearts and minds. There's absolutely zero we need to do to change anybody else's heart or mind. The responsibility we have is to our own hearts and mind, and to get honest with ourselves about how it is we are practicing oneness or separation. So I have some questions for you. Take a minute. Get yourself in your body, your body. Yes, you can be in your bubble because we're about to grow your bubble, Roland. Where is the awareness and practice of oneness missing in my own life? And every single one of us has an answer to this question, so I'm going to give you a moment to find yours. And the next question is, have you decided that we belong together? Brother David Stendhal Rast says, ethics is how we behave when we decide we belong together. So with this idea in mind of the place that in your own life where you may be practicing separation, can you decide that in that circumstance, you can move into a place of knowing you belong together? Whatever that is in your life. And Margaret Wheatley, inspired by a neuroscience, Robert Sapolsky, says, doing harder things when it's the right thing to do is what love transcending biology does. So any of you feeling like I cannot find a way to belong, to bring closer, to feel aligned with them or that, I want you to recognize spiritual transformation is allowing love itself to transcend our reactions. Allowing love itself to transcend our feelings. We may be pissed off. And righteously so. There may be some BS happening in some circumstances in your life, in the world. We know there's BS happening. But it is up to us as the divine appointees of the one with breath in our bodies to transcend the pissed offness, to transcend the otherness, to do the harder thing because it is right, to find forgiveness, to find belonging in the places we feel separate. That is ours to do. That is the transformation we're talking about when we talk about love in action. It's the change in our own hearts that we're after. All right, you guys ready for my next challenge? I got a quote from Ernest Holmes. Please do not wait. The garden that isn't planted won't grow. The seed that is not sown will not flourish. The word that is not spoken cannot act. The prayer that is not said and accepted cannot be answered. Here's going to be your homework, so just take a deep breath. We'll get to it. Take 2 or 3 people and work for them every day as well as yourself. Take time to affirm whatever you think and don't be afraid to deny what appears. Hold that thought. Affirm for this person everything until you relax and say, isn't it wonderful? This is the truth about them. There is peace and harmony and joy. There is success and everything, and heaven too. This word is for them and for myself and my family. And I build up a case remembering this every day. So what that means and what your homework is going to be moving forward is that you will deny what you think is appearing as separation. Doesn't mean you deny the stuff that's pissing you off, the stuff that's breaking your heart. It means you deny that you're making it mean we are separate. And you affirm what is true, that there is only one, and that one is always good. And we are each the life of that one life. But here's the homework. You are going to pick 2 people right here in this audience. And my Zoom beloveds, I'm going to let you do this amongst yourselves. You're going to pick 2 people. And if I can get my usher, greeter, check-in helpers, there are some baskets. If y'all would go collect those baskets, I need 3 of you. Those baskets with pen and paper. And you're going to hand those out to everybody here. And we're going to take a few minutes, and you're going to pick 2 people that you do not know well. And you are going to affirm their beauty, their joy, their harmony, their peace every day this week. And I want you to take a pen and paper and write their names down, because you do not know them well. So you're going to write their names down, and you're going to take this home, and you are going to hold them in belonging, knowing the truth of their divine nature every day for the next week. And when you've completed that, I'm going to give you your final step. So let's take a few minutes. You're going to get out of your chairs as you're able, and you're going to go find 2 people you do not know well, and you're going to get their names. And you're going to hold them in prayer all week long. Get on to it. This is what being in community looks like. And beloveds in Zoom, maybe you can share who the 2 names you're going to be taking with you this week on the chat. Tammy and Kenny, I'm going to be holding you in my prayers this week. Love you. And as you're wrapping up, you guys keep that pen and paper handy, because you got one more name to write down. All right, beloveds, I'm going to give you 1 more minute. All righty, let's find our way back to our seat. All right. So you have one more thing to add to your list of who you will be holding in affirmation and prayer this week. I want you to think of a person or a thing or a situation that feels nearly impossible to feel like you belong to right now. And I see some of you blankly staring at me. So I know there is someone in your life or something in your life that you have made an enemy. Guaranteed. I want you to put one of those people or situations on your list. I know, but we do hard things because love is bigger. Just choose one this week, Kat. You can choose another one next week. Anybody struggling to come up with their thing? No struggles at all, is there? And I'm going to share with you a meta practice, one that I am taking some liberties on. And if you want to know more about the meta practice, you can Google it. There's a blog post on our website that shows you how to do meta practice, abqcsl.org. But we're going to do meta practice all week long for this beloved list. And we're going to do it together to close my time with you. So if you've got your thing, you know what? Before you get to your list, we're going to start with yourself. So bring yourself, bring your name, bring yourself into your mind. And you're simply going to say with me in your mind, may I be blessed with peace. May I be blessed with joy. May I be blessed with harmony. And may I be blessed with freedom. Because what I know for sure is the divine givingness of the one is always good. And we could even call Spirit, Allah, the Absolute, the Holy Blessed One, the good. Because I know that that one, that good is giving itself to me, to you, to every name on your list, to every set of circumstances that feels beyond our capacity to call good. I know that the good is there. I know without a shadow of any doubt that the good is moving right now, making itself known, allowing each one of us to say yes to making it real, to being the way maker for the realization of the good that each of us are, the good that God is, to saying yes to being the way maker of more and more manifest reality of oneness. Because I know that each of us is wholly and sacredly committed to letting love show up in public, showing up as freedom and liberation and justice and enoughness for all. That is what we are up to today. That is what we are up to with every breath, every inhale and every exhale is a demonstration of the goodness of this one life. It is always good and very good. I am so wildly grateful for the opportunity to be in this one life with you, knowing we are all in this together. There is no other possibility. So I let the good continue to reveal itself, to real itself through every breath we take. Know this with me and anchor it in prayer by saying amen, and so it is. Thank you. I would love to have Jeff come join me. We've got a few announcements for you. And I want to share with you why your contributions, your financial contributions, your volunteer time and hours, your talent and treasure that you have been contributing to this community have made such a difference. I got to meet a couple from California yesterday, day before, I can't remember. And I had not met them before, and they introduced themselves to me and they said, "Oh, we already know you. We get to watch you online." And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I had no idea. What's your names? You know, get on the Zoom link." And it's so funny how shy people are, even online, right? They would rather not get on Zoom and just watch the stream because then we don't have to see them. But I encourage them to get on Zoom. And the only reason that they know me, that they know you, that our proximity got a little closer is because of the steps we've been able to take to become a hybrid community, online and in person, where we are now in community with people that we may have never met before, who live in other cities, who live in other countries even. How good is God? How good is God through technology? And that happens because of your contributions, and I just want to say thank you. And we get to continue to get better and better at it. That's my goal. We are going to be so good at this hybrid thing. We are going to begin to expand our bubble farther and farther than we have ever imagined. And I thank you for being in that with me. If you would like to make a contribution today, there are envelopes and baskets at the back of our space on the table. If you need any help with that, just raise your hand and one of our lovely greeter, helper, ushers can make that happen for you. And I want to bring Jeff forward so he can let us know what else is going on around here. And for my Zoom beloveds, you can donate at abqcsl.org. And thank you through the loving goodness of technology for being with us today. Mwah.
All right, so to further kind of streamline the way that we're bringing our communications to you, every Thursday around 3-4 in the afternoon, you'll receive, if you're in our system, we don't have your email address, make sure that you see me before you leave, and I'll make sure that you're on our mailing list. But every week around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you'll get this beautiful newsletter and every single thing that you need to know to be in community with us, whether it's services that we're doing like this, or small groups, or classes, or opportunities to volunteer, or opportunities to be in community in a larger way. We've set up this 3-part newsletter that will give you all of that information. Starting, well, really it started last week, but officially starting in October, we will be here every Sunday again. And we'll be out here as long as we can, and then hopefully be able to begin moving inside. So everything is going, and we're streamlining our hybrid so that we're all in community together at the same time at 10 o'clock, via 10 o'clock Mountain Time. either on YouTube or on Zoom or here in person. So anyway, the Thursday, I just want to try to get it into everybody's habit that Thursday is your day to find out every single thing that you would ever need to know. What's important to me for you to know right now is that spirit groups, what we do here on Sunday, we take into community together via spirit groups. And spirit groups are a way to gather in small groups and get involved with each other and start to practice some of these principles that you're hearing about on Sundays. So you can go to our website, abqcsl.org. Spirit groups are still open this week. This is the final week. So you can go on there, and there's a section called Next Steps, and in there is all of the current spirit groups that are happening. And if one strikes your fancy, sign up. And most of those are happening on Zoom. We have one, Jan has an art class or an art group that happens on Saturdays right here. But you can go there to find those out. There's a class on spiritual principles and practices, which is a great entry into taking the next dive into this philosophy. That's happening in October into November, and that's available. All the information and sign up is right in that same space. And that newsletter will guide you to that website too every Thursday. So if you forget everything that I'm saying right now, just remember Thursday, look for the email that comes from Reverend Amani and open it up. And we're trying to make this as simple as possible. 10 a.m. Sunday, 3 p.m. Thursday, and you will have everything that you need to know to participate fully in this community. I can guarantee you that. So we're really excited about all coming back together as one and really building upon all of these things. So I guess that's my spiel.
All right, I'm going to invite Dino on up here to get ready to let us know about prayer in this community and to pray us out. And as he makes his way, I want to thank all the folks who helped today to make things happen. Krista, would you wave at the people? Thank you for being our Zoom host today. Jordana and Emil, who isn't in here, making all of the technology things work. I'm telling y'all, she's magical. And raise your hand if you were at check-in, ushering, greeting, all the chairs set up. Raise your hand so we can say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, take it away, Dino.
So very much. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me good? Well, okay. My name is Dino, and I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner here at the center. And there are several of us here today. Would you mind raising your hands? And one thing we do is we love to pray knowing the truth of who you are. So if you have a few minutes and you'd like prayer about something, grab one of us and we'd be more than happy to pray for you. We also have some prayer cards in the back that you can fill out, and we will hold you in prayer for the week. We also have online prayer at ABQ CSL. If you feel more comfortable, you can go online and request prayer that way, and the ministers and the practitioners will hold you in prayer. At this time, I'd like to take a few minutes to pray with you, if you will. Find that special place that has manifested for us this morning, this beautiful space. We are a lovely gathering of hearts together in this space today, in this precious space today that has manifested just for us. We know one thing, and that is that we are loved unconditionally every moment of every day. And as we gather our hearts today, let us remember that in oneness, we are complete. That in this space, we know joy, peace, love, gratitude, forgiveness. And let us for a moment hold hands with those that are not here, those that we love and miss. And remember, and let us be kind to one another. Let us remember to be kind every day. And let us remember to think goodwill. And let us remember to hold those people that we love in our hearts so that we are never far away from them and that they are always here with us. We're so grateful for you all being here, for our guests, especially our guests. And as you can see, we've set up the table for the children and they will come. And we will hold them in prayer as well. And together we say, and so it is.
Blessings, 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 blessings on Zoom. Thank you all for being here today. And you are welcome to hang out and affirm the beauty and oneness and divinity of each other for as long as you'd like today. Love you so much.